Well, hello and howdy ho everyone, Foxy Games here, and welcome back to Final Fantasy XIV full story playthrough. In the last episode, we cleared the puppet's bunker, and we discovered a little more going on with that Strangeness in Kalusia. We're going to put that on the back burner now, and we're going to talk to Cyella, for she has a new quest for us, now that we have finished with our business on the first rather, for the most part anyway. So let's see what it is she has to say. If it isn't Foxy loitering about the stairs just like any old evening. And here I was worried that you'd gone back to your world for good, and I was too late. It's just that I've been thinking about the crystals belonging to the Warriors of Light. I hear they ended up with you after you lot defeated the Virtues. I assume you have Ardbert's as well. No, I gave that back to Seto. Indeed, that does seem appropriate. His bond with Seto is deep and enduring. As for the others, I had hoped you might be persuaded to leave them in my care. It was only right that they, like Ardbert, should accompany you on your journey to set this world back on its proper course. Yet you now have a home you must return to. While the first is theirs. After all they did to keep it safe, they deserve to be here, to see what its future holds. I guess that's fair. Oh, don't make that face. I know it's a big decision, but it needn't fall entirely to you. There are others here who care for the Warriors of Light as much as you do, aren't there? That's true. You see why I work here. Folk are always in reach when I need them. That's a good point. Giot, my friend. Now that's some damn fine ale. How many should I order for you? I know you ain't much of a drinker, so 6? 7? Maybe for a dwarf. What? You want help deciding the fate of Lamit's crystal? And the others too? Does this place have any bigger tankards? Well, if you insist. Lurik owes me drinks, plural, so I'll make sure he joins us. Maybe find Granson while I'm at it. You go on and wait with Serrig and Tainer. Order around while I'm out, you hear? Well, hey, it's cool to see that these guys have all gotten to know one another. They're all hunters of some description. Sup, Tainer? Giot seems excited. Should I be concerned? Ordinarily, yes. Good to see you, Foxy. What did you say that has Giot so worked up? The crystals, eh? That does sound like a conversation worth getting everyone together for. Did Lurik really promise to pay for Giot's drinks? That's a disaster in the making. Not just hers. Rounds with a lot of us. Wait, Giot's a girl? I guess so. Might be that the lad yet has a few things to learn about coin and the scarcity thereof. Still, I'm not turned down his generosity. Go and tell the barkeep we'll be needing food and ale for the table. Fine, but please try to exercise some restraint. I'll not carry you back to the room again. Look, all I'm saying is Lalafell, sometimes you can't tell. Here we are. How much of a head start did you get? Should I ask him to bring out the cask? I reckon we should hear Foxy out first. So, you're telling me that the barmaid was one of Nielbert's companions, not to mention the Shadowkeeper, and from a different world? That's laying it on a bit thick. It certainly raises questions. I mean, after everything you guys have experienced, does it really? Quite, such as how she retains her youthful visage. Not that. I had my suspicions about her. The other night I was at the counter, quaffing my ale, having a grand time, and next I realized I'm outside without a guild to my name, and it ain't the first time. It could only be the power of the Shadow Keeper. And not that you drink enough to fill a small army. If Foxy says it's true, I'm inclined to believe it. Which leaves us with the matter of entrusting the crystals to her. She's right that this was Brandon's home, the others too. And it's home to their most important memories. Not all of them good, maybe, but everyone they love is laid to rest here. I agree. Nailbit belongs here. Ardbert's crystal is with Sido, in this world. Lamit would want to be near. Renda Ray as well, I think. She'd want to be with her friends in the place that she loved. I think we have a consensus. Seems we all agree. A toast then to the warriors of light. Oh, Jesus. To the warriors of light. Granson, the only one not drinking. Drink up. I'm paying, and as bounty hunters, I expect you all to take proper advantage of that. I hate to disappoint, but I'm not much for alcohol. This juice looks nice, though. Ah, that's not... Oh no, Granson! Oh dear. I've never actually seen this quest, so I don't know what to expect. Oh god. Granson. At least he's breathing. How did you manage this? Twice the mess and half the time as normal patrons, I swear. I overheard your conversation, by the way. Do you agree with your friends? These crystals are yours, Story Keeper. Their legacies are safe with me. You have my word. And every time it plays this music, I get misty-eyed. It's so nice. Thank you. I can feel them. Their memories. Why? Why, damn it? You're all just like Ardbert. I betrayed you. I manipulated you and still... You thought of me as a comrade, a friend, until the very end. Because they knew that you would never betray them without reason. I did warn you. Yes, you did. My head. Is Granson here again, or did he fuck off? Oh, he's over there. Surprised he's still standing. A week's worth of earnings. How is this possible? Well, lesson learned, Reek. Granson, how are you feeling? This is why I don't drink. Oh, man. And you drank the strongest stuff, from all I could tell. Phew, can't remember the last time I was so drunk. Or any of the other times neither, but that ain't important. A successful sousing calls for a celebratory ale. We finally managed to clean up after you lot, for the most part. Perhaps next time we should set down a tarpaulin? What the hell's a tarpaulin? Eh. Nevertheless, I'm grateful to you for entrusting these to me. As long as I live, I will never stop sharing the true tale of the Warriors of Light, of my friends. There you go. The quest Hero's Journey will now be made available. In order to accept it, you must have completed Chronicles of a New Era, Thoughts, Thok Around the Clock, a Fiendish Likeness, a Deific Simulacrum, and a Demonic Duplicate. Well, I guess I better go and do those. God damn it. Okay, so really all I had to do was unlock the extreme versions of a couple of different dungeons back from Heaven's Ward. I'm not sure why entirely, but it's fine, because we now have access to the quest. Seeing the lot of you together like that, it reminded me of the old days. Ardbert and the rest, drinking and bickering and laughing, drove each other half mad at times, but there was never any question of who'd be there when times got tough. Can't help but wonder, can I? If I'd had companions like that back home, could it have been saved? I'm not the only one who tried, though each of us stood alone. There was Unukalai. Let's see. That nigh unpronounceable name sounds familiar. No, we know who Unukalai is. Remember him back during the Warring Triad quests? We've met. He was working with Elidibus at the time. Yes, he too was one would-be savior of the 13th, and was spared his fated demise by Ascian devices. We spoke once after the destruction of our world. If the others could be saved, we thought we yet had parts to play. What's he up to now that Elidibus is gone? What he's up to now that Elidibus is gone, though, I have no idea. Has he found himself a new role as I have, or does he feel as adrift as we were back then? If you encounter him in the Source, I ask that you help him find a way forward, just as you have helped all of us here. Well, it's been a while since we checked in with good old Unukalai, so why not? Well, where the fuck is Mordona? It's all the way at the bottom, why? Anyway, as I was saying before my brain did a fuck, it's been a long time since we've really stopped in with Unukalai. I mean, we haven't taken stock with him in ages, really, and we are going to talk to you guys in a bit. It's just going to be a little while. Hey, buddy. Well met, Foxy. What brings you here today? Urianger did apprise me of your travels in the first, and of what became of Elidibus at long last. But I was not aware that you were working with Silva. I consider her a comrade of sorts, though our time together was short. Looking upon the twisted remains of the world you tried to save creates a bond that few can understand. At that time, we spoke of what we could hope to achieve with our newfound immortality, and of our regrets. Though I then believed what had happened to be the natural result of my age and inexperience, I now think this was merely the least painful explanation I could offer myself. Silva is right. We ought to have sought each other out before it was too late. I would not make the same mistake again. With the Warring Triad gone, I am indeed in need of a new purpose, but to seek it alone is folly. I should like to speak with Silva, assuming such a thing is possible. As I mentioned, she understands how I feel more than any other. There may be a way. You speak of the spirit vessel, correct? The means by which the Scions return to the source. If I understand the principles at work correctly, then it was a near miracle that you succeeded in bringing them back without killing them. If Elidibus is to be believed, however, my current state makes me something of an exception in the matters of life and death. In which case, there is not to be lost for making the attempt. Please say you'll help. Of course. We need an expert in spirit vessels. Let's give him some confidence. Who are we calling exactly? Urianger? Of course. Pray forgive the delay. Thou didst seek my counsel? Aye, the gifts granted young Unukalai by Hydaelyn and the Scions may prove a boon in easing the transition. However, I know not to what extent, nor what might befall thy spirit should it be lost betwixt worlds. Nevertheless, I know that this is my path forward. Please, Urianger. Very well. If thou believest that thou shalt find new purpose in the first, I will do all in my power to see thee safely there. We shall be but a few moments. Mayhap a worthy tome might keep thee occupied while I perform the necessary magics. So now we can just make spirit vessels. Simple as that. "'Tis done. Pray God his vessel well." So wait, he doesn't have a body to go to. Unukalai as I and the other Scions were on the first, a soul with form yet no true body. Thus 'twas a simple matter to transfer him to the vessel using the self-same process as before. To withdraw his essence once across the rift ought to prove similarly straightforward. However, I fear that such an existence cannot sustain itself indefinitely. Look to the Scions' example. Their persistent use of flesh and blood vessels surely hath cause. Be it danger akin to that which would have befallen us had we not returned to the source, I know not. But the same may come when the boy requireth a fully corporeal form. Should this come to pass, I trust that thou shalt come to his aid. For the moment, however, thou needst only convey the spirit vessel to Becklug. Farewell, both of thee. Well, it's not like he was doing much here. Unukalai, that is. He was pretty largely forgotten. Oh, why am I even just walking? I need to go to the source. Or the first. The fuck, the shit, the fuck, the shit. One of those places. Fuck. Hello, Becklug. Back again, are you? I'm flattered that you've grown so fond of Norvrant, or I would be, but you have that expression you will not always wear when you're about to ask me for something. Unukalai's spirit vessel. Best not tell anyone else about this, lest you suddenly find yourself everyone's first choice in Interworld of Fairy Services. Oh, yeah. Y'shtola herself said that she was looking for a way to traverse the rift. You did what? After all the perils your friends faced and the labors we undertook to return them to your world, you brought another soul across the rift? Have you no common sense? It's fine, just work your magics, whichever. There had better be a very compelling reason for all this, whelp. Oh, removing spirit from vessel will be easy enough, I suppose. However, it requires a few moments without your breathing down my neck. Also, your friend is unlikely to materialize with clothes on, so I doubt they'll want an audience. You should wait here, perhaps take an opportunity for some self-reflection. Jeez, harsh. Oh, very well, at least I tried. We'll find you at the Wandering Stairs directly then. Foxy says, I ain't got time for that shit. Alright, to the Wandering Stairs. I'm gonna go have a drink or 5. Hello, Cyella. You want me to speak with someone? Very well, you've done the same at my request often enough. How long are we meant to wait for this friend of yours? I do have work to do, you know. Oh, you have a literal eternity. Ah, here you are. Pardon the delay, it took some time to acquire robes of an appropriate size. Is this them? Not quite. Oh, wow. Hey, looking pretty good, kid. Silva. Kalai. Indeed, 'tis I. Trust me, I can hardly believe it that I'm here myself. I should think so. When I sent Foxy to ask after you, it never occurred to me that you might be able to come across the rift without Ascian aid. Lost your taste for subterfuge, I see. My choices and my reasons are my own now. If I am to have faith in them, in myself, I cannot hide who I am. Speaking of which, Unukalai was kind enough to fill me in, unlike some, and I was interested to hear of an erstwhile hero of the 13th serving libations at the Wandering Stairs. But that this hero should be you surpasses the scope of even my considerable imaginings. Was that you at Grunslicht so long ago? Not so long to me, or you mayhap, though I had thought I might at least put those days behind me. But perhaps this is for the best. They're not all bad memories. They never are. I should very much like to hear your story. Should you be willing to share it? Our world, like this one, had its share of would-be heroes, myself and Unukalai among them. Unlike your warriors of light, however, each was unaware of, or concerned with, our fellows. Or unconcerned with, I should say. But to fight alone is to fall alone, and the insidious ether of the Auracite used to seal primals corrupted once noble souls and turned them, one by one, to darkness. Sounds a bit like what we dealt with in Ivalice. Even those who resisted this fate could not escape its consequences. No surprise, perhaps, as we continued to struggle in solitude. We were spared by Ascian machinations, but only as our world met its death. But what if that death could be undone? I was told that much of the first was consumed by light, as our home was by darkness. Yet balance and life are being restored to even that scoured land they call the Empty. If such a thing is possible, then why not the reverse? Could we not bring light back to the 13th? Even the Ascians considered the 13th lost, thus it was excluded from the rejoining. But what say you? You have a way of making miracles happen. Anything is possible, or the world of darkness was not in a state I'd consider salvageable. Well, who's to say? We've only seen part of it. Never thought the Empty would be salvageable, after all. That doesn't sound like an empty platitude coming from you. It was the same with Ardbert. Pardon the interruption, but might I suggest a closer examination of conditions on the 13th before we form any conclusions? How could we go about that safely? Or we could use the Crystal Tower to open a void gate, couldn't we? Please? How about no? We've seen how that wound up. Or nearly wound up. According to the records, there was a group who worked out how to open small void gates, through which to summon minor fell beasts and the like. Magics of that nature should work, though I am unsure if any with knowledge of the original technique yet live. Oh, we know one. There's one right over there. How fortunate! Let us inquire with this Tainer immediately. Yes, you do that. In the meantime, I will ready a means for peering into the depths of the void without endangering ourselves. Use these to contact me when you have prepared to open the gate. We shall, at the very first opportunity, I promise. Well, hey, this quest is leading in some unexpected directions. What a fascinating place to spend one's days. I should love to hear more about the patrons that have passed through. He really hasn't aged a day. Not that it should surprise me, of all people, but... Hey, Tainer. What do you say, buddy? You gonna help us out? It's always a pleasure, Foxy. Aye, but who's your friend? I don't believe we've met. We have not, as I'm not from this world. The situation is rather complicated, but I hope that you might be willing to assist me. What an awesome thing to lead at. Well, to lead with, rather. But then again, these guys are privy to a lot of shit. It is true that we had the means to open such portals. We call them hollows, and it was through one of these that I was drawn into the rift. So it is possible. Not with my power alone. I understand the greatness of your need, and were Nielbert's still at my side, I should be glad to make the attempt, but the technique required the combined forces of our energies in resonance. If one person's magics are insufficient, perhaps I could assist. From what I can sense, our ethereal reserves are roughly equivalent, and our physical similarities suggest that our energies are not incompatible. I fear you underestimate the difficulty of the task. Nielbert and I were born for this, and even so, it took us years before our efforts were perfectly in step. I realize that it's a lot to ask, considering that we've just met, but could we not at least attempt it? Yours is the only such magic I've ever heard of, and if we might actually be able to save my home. May I interject? You will recall that the crystals in my possession preserve the memories from the former Warriors of Light, including Nielbert's in ethereal form. And Unukalai here has a particular talent for interpreting the minds and motives of ethereal beings, the primals. If I could apply the same principles to interpret Nielbert's crystal... An experiment worth trying at the least. I'll fetch it. Speak to me, Nielbert. Do his memories of training with Tainer remain? They do, and such strong sentiment with them. Tainer, you should know that Nielbert desired nothing so much as to rescue you, his dearest friend. He held so fiercely to his memories of the technique you mastered together because he hoped they might be your salvation. Oh, Nielbert, I won't let them go to waste. I'll do what I can to help see the 13th restored. Thank you. I won't pretend I understand the half of what's going on here. Just keep them from running headlong into anything too dangerous, will you? I'll do my best. Nothing to worry about so long as you're around, I'm sure. Wicked white, I nearly forgot. I had half a dozen orders to fill. You know where to find me when you've made made progress at the gate. Still concerned with the mundane, are you, Silva? Let's see. One step closer. We're ready when you are. That Unokalai could stand to slow down a bit, but who hasn't been a touch reckless in pursuit of a good cause? Try to make sure he stays in one piece, eh? Naturally. If you have no objection, Tainer, I would like to practice creating hollows as soon as possible. Of course, but not within the Crystarium. If we succeed in opening even the smallest window into that realm, it is likely that fell creatures will emerge. Follow me. Out to Lakeland? Yep. There you are. Please, tell Tainer we can begin. Assuming no one ventures near, this location should be suitable. Unokalai, when I give the word, begin channeling your ether. My Albert's memories will have told you as much, but it is imperative that you maintain focus on our ethereal resonance throughout the process. With that in mind, Foxy, I ask that you take care of any creatures that emerge from the hollow. They should not be of a strength to challenge you, and it will allow us to adjust our attunement without risk. Sounds good to me. Then let us begin. Come on. Flow where I tell you to. Let me attempt to match your focus. It opened. It's small, but enough to let something through. Be ready, Foxy. Uh-oh. Oh, it's just a little void sprite. Also, what was that music? That was pretty cool. Man, I wanted to keep playing that music. It's been quite a while since I opened a gate between worlds like this, but there are some things you never forget, aren't there? And Kalai seems to be a little bit winded. That was far too much effort for one such a small gate. On the contrary, given this was your first attempt, it's incredible that we succeeded at all. Now, try synchronizing your breath with mine. Focus on the rhythm of the ethereal flow. Alright, I'm ready. Ah, a larger hollow. Of course, the void scent may be proportionately stronger. What do we got? Oh, it's a spoopy. You know, they could have done better with this, I feel, by just making it a solo duty. Where your breath ends, mine begins. Where your ether flows, mine follows. Together. Unbelievable. Full attunement so soon. Be ready, Foxy. Oh dear. You see, it plays all this really good music, and then it stops because it has to go back to the Lakeland music. It just doesn't flow very well. Like talking to an old friend. Yes, that's what it's like. Well, maybe you two were once the same soul. I think I've grasped the principle now. I only need to remember the feeling for next time. I almost feel as if I do remember it. Your ether is familiar somehow, but that's impossible, of course. No, it's not. I'll bet you anything that they're part of the same soul. Now that Tanner and I are capable of performing the necessary magics, I should like to make an attempt at investigating the conditions on the 13th. Might I trouble you to contact Becklug? Sure. Foxy, are you there? I hope you've not lost focus on the void problem. I have an exciting breakthrough to share. A work of Porksy-related genius, if I do say so myself. Becklug, excellent timing. We've made considerable progress as well, and are ready to open a portal where you are. Or when you are, whatever. I can't talk today. Well then, what say you meet me at Laxenloft forthwith? It's far enough from any major aetherites as to avoid this sort of ethereal interference that would be a hindrance to our observation of the void. Very well. We will see you at this Laxenloft anon, or as soon as I can locate it. I'll lead the way. I too am eager to be one step nearer to our goal. You don't mind if I think of it as our goal, do you? I would be honored. Thank you, Tanner. That's sweet. Yeah, it's pretty obvious these two were once one. We're going all the way to the top, are we? Sure are. I can still scarce believe how quickly we progressed. It's almost as if we've been friends all along. It appears Becklug is yet to arrive. Patience, Unukalai. I hope you weren't waiting too long. What? You didn't think I'd want to see this for myself? The 13th was my home too, if you recall. Quite. Though, as I explained, we won't be the ones doing the seeing, strictly speaking. This familiar will gather all the information we need, assuming you two can create a hollow for it to pass through. That will do nicely. Now fly, my Porksy, fly! Well, it's made it in. And something is coming out. Whoa. Hi. My, that is an ugly one, isn't it? What are you? Are you... Are you... Okay, this is cool. Okay, this is cool. But did you see... do you see what I'm angry at? The fact that they got us all pumped up with the boss theme, and then it cuts back to this. There are more pressing matters at hand. Yeah, I wish Square Enix had realized that. Dvalin, whatever. Fuck. All my excitement is gone. Yeah, sure, it was cool, but God, you could have made it like a minor boss fight. Jesus. We've already come further than I dared hope. I'm truly fortunate to have found Tainer. As I expected, these creatures hardly pose a challenge to you. Maybe don't tell Serrig about how large and horrible that one was, though. Those two really have taken to each other, haven't they? I suppose they are of a similar age, in some ways at any rate. Thank you for cleaning that up. The Porksy ought to be back any moment now, though I can't sense it. Odd. Perhaps it's lost. If Foxy created an etheric beacon as she did for me, it might find its way back more easily. That may work. Give it a go. Keep at it. Aha! A distinctly Porksy-like presence. I see the snout. There we are. Now close that hollow before anything follows. I believe it has performed its task thoroughly as instructed. Good, Porksy. With luck, its observations may indeed lead us to a means of driving the darkness from the 13th. However, I will need to review its findings in detail before I can tell you more, and it could take years to deduce a suitable solution. I admit that I am impatient to find a way forward, but I have endured millennia with half as much hope as I have now. If I must wait, then that is what I shall do. Like Foxy and your warriors of light, I will persevere until my world is safe once more. That is what a hero does. I think you'll make a good one. You as well. If that's the end of the excitement for the time being, we should head back to the Wandering Stairs, clear out that pall of anxiety Serrig is spreading all over the place. He'll be happy to know that the kid's nice and capable, and found a capable new friend for that matter. God, still, what a disappointment that fight was. Like, to hype it up with the boss music, which everybody loves, like, universally, everybody loves that music. And then just, oh, no, it's just a random, not really random, but it's just a fight with, like, an everyday quest mob. Sup, Serrig? Ah, you've returned hale and whole. Not that I had any doubt you would, of course. And how did your search of the Hollow go? We may have the information we need to save the 13th. It may be some time, years maybe, until we can be certain, but I will be here for as long as it takes. On that subject, I've been thinking. Would you be interested in joining us? As a bounty hunter, I mean. Sarah and I hunt down sin eaters and other threats. The first was saved, but it remains far from safe. You could help us protect the people here. I think I would quite like that. Protecting people. If I can do that, then perhaps I will find the strength I need when the time comes. Strength, you say? Sounds like he could use a dwarf with a massive hammer. Hey, friends. I may have shared the tale of the 13th with a few other noted hunters. Aye, I know what it feels like to fight for something you've already lost, to need to find a way to make it right. And I know it's not easy to fight on your own, inconvenient as that little truth may be. Thus I know team is born. This calls for a toast. No more drinks. I don't object, so long as this lot carries their weight. I'm a bounty hunter, not a fuka herder. The hell's a fuka? Thank you so much. All of you. I would be honored to fight at your side. Warriors of Light of a new age, I would say. I shall do my best to justify the faith you have shown in me, and to save my home. Someday I hope we can visit it together. And what an incredibly fascinating quest that was. It had its problems, for sure, but overall I quite liked it. Training like that was nice. It was never easy, even back then, but I missed it. I'm glad Tanner's made a friend his own age. Bit on the odd side, but aren't we all? Oh, you have no idea how odd the kid is. And of course, Unukalai's hanging out here with Cyella. There is doubtless much I can learn from work as a bounty hunter, especially with Tanner as my side. Or as my guide, rather. At loose ends, are you? You're welcome to loiter about here, if you intend to spend some coin while you're at it. Not that I'm not grateful for the business you brought in, mind. The hunters are here even more often now that they're working together, and their accounts never go unsettled for long. They're a pain in the ass to serve, of course. Maybe I'll drop your name next time I need them to behave. Still, it's nice to feel like something grand is in motion again. Perhaps Ardbert rubbed off on me more than I anticipated. Let's talk about Unukalai. As I mentioned, we never met in our previous lives, or should I say, while we were properly alive. This never gets less confusing. In any case, we each fought to protect the 13th, but alone as we were, I can hardly say that I know the details of his efforts, only the regrets that we shared after. It wasn't too long before we went our separate ways to play our separate parts, yet here we are again. One last chance to walk the noble path together? Who could say? And how do you fare of late? Still tending to the bar, cleaning up after drunkards and Glinard. Oh yes, I've heard that already. Giot? The other hunters aren't half bad at killing stuff, but we need to work on their drinking habits. Who drinks wine with dinner? Probably not Granson. He probably drinks water. Speaking of, how are you, Granson? They're a good lot, the other hunters. They really care about Unikali and saving that world of his. I'm happy to help however I can. Except for the drinking. Count me out of that. Good man. You clearly can't handle it. And Reek. Oh, don't fret so. I've already told Miss Elvara that I'll be in the Crystarium for the time being. The opportunity was just too good to pass up. Think of it, what we could do with all of us hunters together. That's true. Well, alright. We've got just around half an hour left to fuck around with things, so I say we continue the main story quest. So let's head back to Mordona and see what's going on. Hello you two. Oh yes, everyone likes the garments. Yes, I've already read that before. Oh, greetings, Foxy. Come to look in on our friends. Rest assured, everyone is quite well. I've been keeping a close eye on them and satisfied myself that they are all in fine health. As a matter of fact, they're just about to convene in Dawn's Respite to discuss how best to use their pent-up energy. Let's join them, shall we? I figured they'd never want to look into Dawn's Respite again, considering how long their bodies spent there.
Well, my friends, now that we have all settled back into our bodies, it is time we resumed our duties in earnest. Let us speak of our plans.
Ever since the Emperor's death, it's been one unsettling rumor after another. I have a mind to pay a visit to Garlemald to ascertain the truth of the matter.
A prudent endeavor. 'Tis of the essence that we establish the full extent of the threat, not least if it should prove that Xenos doth indeed orchestrate events from the shadows. In light of which possibility, I shall accompany thee on thy mission. Be assured that thou shalt find me more a help than a hindrance. Thou requirest another to imbue thine ammunition, dost thou not?
Can't argue with him there, Thancred.
Assuming that's settled, there's something I've been meaning to look into as well.
Welcome back, everyone!
Lise!
You're fine now, right? No more headaches or keeling over?
That's right. We're fighting fit and raring to go.
The famous Lise Hext, former Scion and hero of the Alamegan resistance.
I don't believe we've met.
Really? It's so easy to assume that all Archons are acquainted. But then I suppose your fields of expertise are rather different.
Lise was never really an Archon per se. Her sister was.
Grahatir, at your service. I have read much and more about your exploits, Commander. It is a pleasure to finally make your acquaintance.
Likewise. The others told me all about you.
Do not be so sure. Words scarcely do justice to the vital role he played in our victory in the First. A more dependable comrade one would be hard-pressed to find.
Oh.
Oh, right. I did glance at the report. But I'd be lying if I said I understood half of it.
Yeah, that's a mood.
Well, that's a lot to take in. Just to be clear, this means we're not heading for another calamity, does it?
Shorn of their unsundered master's leadership, what Ascians remain shall struggle to see their plans to fruition. And though I would ever advise caution, I believe we may rest easy for a time.
I'll take that as a yes. Even so, I don't know what to make of this business about Hydaelyn and Zodiac being primals.
A difficult truth to bear, yes. But at last we understand the nature of our adversary. And if there are no further calamities, neither will there be rejoinings, meaning Zodiac will never regain his full strength. Even so, as the oldest and mightiest of primals, he remains a force to be feared. Though his is a power born of the desire for salvation, we have seen the havoc it may wreak. And it falls to us to ensure that it is never again brought to bear upon this star.
But tell us, Lys, to what do we owe the pleasure of your visit?
What do you mean? Isn't seeing my long-lost comrades reason enough? Alright, there was one other matter. I have a message from the Alliance, and before you ask, yes, it's about the Empire. So, after Emperor Varys' assassination, it seems his cousin Nerva made a bid for the throne. The trouble is, he wasn't the only one with designs on it, and it didn't take long for a civil war to break out. And it's not just in the provinces. Early reports say huge swathes of the Imperial capital have been reduced to rubble. The Alliance will soon convene in Alamigo to decide on a course of action, and we were hoping you'd come along.
Well, as it happens, Urianger and I were just this moment planning a little trip to Garlemald. And we should be grateful for any advice the Alliance can provide on how best to make the most of our visit.
To Alamigo, then.
Why don't you go on without me? There's something I need to look into.
Ah, forgive me. You were just telling us. What is it, if I may ask?
I want to find a way to cure the Tempered.
Of course. You think it may be possible to adapt the treatment you use to help those corrupted by the Sin Eaters?
I'm sorry, a cure for tempering? But that would change everything. Alizé, consider yourself uninvited. Go and find us this cure.
I'll do my best. I was hoping you might join me. Don't worry if not, though. I won't hold it against you if you'd rather attend a stuffy meeting.
No. What meeting? Lead on.
I knew you'd say yes.
I'll come too. If you don't mind, that is.
Why would I not want my husband to join me?
Mind? I'm sure they would be glad of your company. Pray, enjoy your time together with your hero.
No. That's not... I mean, I simply thought my knowledge might be of some use.
We shall be on our way then. Godspeed.
Oh, Graha, you're adorable. Don't worry, I can say with complete confidence that Graha is dressed for anything. Yeah, he is. When Y'shtola is about, one cannot afford even the slightest slip. You are absolutely right. When I set out to save Halric, I think Gabu was always at the back of my mind. And having proved that the light corrupted are not lost, I am convinced that the same must be true of the tempered. Similar to those corrupted by the Sin Eaters, the ether of Gabu's soul has been rendered stagnant. And though the root cause is different, perhaps the solution is the same. It is by no means an unreasonable hypothesis, I'll say, and it warrants full investigation. If there's even a chance we can save Gabu, we have to try. But however much I'd like to race over to Limsa and set to work, there's no room for recklessness, not when a child's life is at stake. As I'm sure Backlog would remind us, we still know little and less about the soul. Any number of things can go wrong if we don't exercise due caution. And so, before attempting anything, we should learn all we possibly can about tempering. There's just one problem. Research into the condition has long since ground to a halt, and the combined work of the many scholars involved doesn't exactly amount to a wealth of knowledge. Not of the modern scholars, perhaps, but what of their ancient counterparts? I know the Allegans took a more than passing interest in the subject. And if what we seek is to be found anywhere, it would surely be at the Etherochemical Research Facility. Where they experimented on primals and their worshippers, yes? Good thinking. I've never actually been there myself, but I did read the reports on Azizla, which means we'll be needing an airship. An airship, you say? Meet me at the northern bank of Silvertear Lake. I've got a little surprise for you. Oh, and come prepared to travel. Huh. Well, okay then. I guess we'll come prepared to travel. What in the hell is this, Tataru? It's so pink. I give you the Bonanza, the Scions' very own airship. I built her as a company project with help from our friends at the Rising Stones, and named her for luck and prosperity. Tataru, this is amazing. We'll be able to fly just about anywhere we want. Our garments were impressive enough, but to build an entire airship? I see the annals did not exaggerate to the many talents of the Scions' fabled coinkeeper. I'd also introduce myself as your pilot, except the training didn't go quite as well as I'd hoped. But that's alright, because we've hired this capable fellow here instead. The Bonanza is equipped with a full complement of mana cutters, by the way. Feel free to use them to get around Azizla. But enough talk. It's time to fly. All aboard. Now, do you all remember way back in Heavensward when we were doing the Weeping City of Mach and all that with the Sky Pirates? Remember how cool it was to see them zip around on their airships? Remember how annoyed I said I was at a certain part in this game? Remember how I said it was a spoiler for way later? Yeah, just remember that. Did I ever mention that I was fond of flying? Because I am. Be it on an airship, an Amuro, or a chocobo, there is nothing so exhilarating as feeling the wind on your face as the horizon unfolds before you. You know, I rather like flying too, except airline seats really hurt my ass. Honestly, Sid would be jealous of the way that airship flies. Tataru has outdone herself. Anyway, here we are on Azizla, and Alphinaud's report did not do the scale of the place justice. Yeah, this place is a little too big. It's actually really annoying to navigate. So this is where you had your reckoning with Thornton. I wish I'd been with you. You had your other things to do. This appears to be Helix, which means we stand in the Alpha Quadrant. To the east lies the Beta Quadrant, and... Yes, I believe I have my bearings. Though this is my first time on Azzy's Law, I do have some familiarity with the place thanks to the records on the Crystal Tower. Unless I am mistaken, this place leads to an Aetheryte, beyond which there will be an information terminal. I suggest we begin our search there. Time for our authority on elegant artifacts to show what he can do. And here is the terminal. A moment while I search the archives for references to tempering. Ah, there we are. Iconic corruption, an overview. That sounds promising. Indeed. Let us see what this report has to say. Making yourself useful immediately. Confound it. The contents appear to have been deleted. What? No! Isn't there something you can do? Not from here, I'm afraid. But it may be that another copy of the report exists elsewhere. The question is where to look. It says here that the report was written by someone named Owen. Is it likely that he kept a copy? I would say it is a distinct possibility. Assuming he was a researcher here, he will have had quarters on the Habisphere. We can ascertain the details that the Habisphere controlled. Let us return to the Bonanza and avail ourselves of the mana cutters. We will need them to reach our destination. I forgot, you already have a suitable means of transport, don't you? No need to waste time accompanying us back to the ship, then. We'll see you at the Habisphere. Well, alright. Oh, flying around Azzy's Law. And you know... Would you believe me if I told you this isn't the last time we're gonna do this? We've got at least one more. Here we are. An administrative node. Welcome to Habisphere Control. How may I assist you? The mana cutters appear to be ironworks made, but I dare say Tatara will craft her own soon enough. Ah, there they are. Yes, they look very familiar to our own mana cutters. If the late Owen did indeed have a chamber here, this node will be able to tell us its number. There. From what I recall of the layout, it should be somewhere in the vicinity of... Warning. An evacuation order is presently in effect. Entry to the Habisphere is not permitted at this time. Foiled again. In all likelihood, the order would have been imposed during the Fourth Umbral Calamity, and I doubt it will be lifted in the near future. Energy level critical. Returning to base for charging. Well, surely there must be some other way to gain access. Force, for example? Ere we resort to that, I have an idea. Were we to send a surge of energy through yonder control mechanism, it should prompt the system to restart, releasing the locks. As for a suitable energy source, a concentrated lightning shot might suffice. Happily, I seem to recall that they are known to form at points of stagnant ether throughout the continent. You seem to recall? Are you honestly telling me that that was on the records too? I am. A report sent to the capital mentioned that lightning-aspected ether was prone to pooling on the continent, resulting in surges that interfered with equipment. A minor detail, I grant you, but in my role as caretaker of the Crystal Tower, there was no such thing as too much elegant knowledge. Yeah, and you had like a century to catch up on all of it. Besides, my studies helped me to feel connected to the source. To home. I must have explored this facility 1,000 times in my mind, but to finally stand here with the two of you, 'tis more exhilarating than I can well express. Well, we're glad to have you here. Now then, the Lightning Shard. If I may, I suggest we split up and search the Beta Quadrant. Oh, but beware of sprites. They are wont to manifest where the ether is stagnant. Now you're just showing off. Which makes me think we should make a contest of this. The first to return here with the shard wins. What do you say? Very well. It would be my honor to come third. You're so modest! It's so fucking adorable. Oh hey. Do you guys like this cutscene of them flying off on their mana cutters? Yeah? Do you like that? Anyway. Oh, fuck you and your fates. Ah, here we go. Now we will bring our Chocobo out because I do believe we're gonna fight something. Not you. Ah, yes. Bravo! That was quite a show, adventurer. Why, the spectacle proved so enthralling that all thoughts of the prize slipped my mind. I appear to have forfeited our little race. Congratulations, the lightning shard is yours. What, no dramatic entrance? You've changed. Ugh, you remember that. In my defense, I was caught up in the moment. It isn't every day you meet an honest-to-God's hero, after all. Yes, that is a callback to the Crystal Tower, when we were after that ether sand. Well, the contest continues, so you'd better hurry back. Ah, but one last thing. Thank you, Foxy, for bringing me here. Thank you for coming home. Alright, let's go let Alice know that she lost. You know, maybe she'll feel a little better about the whole vampire bat thing. You have a shard? Then you win. I searched high and low, but couldn't find so much as a trace of stagnant ether. It appears Alice had no luck, so victory is yours. Congratulations. Now then, may I have that shard? Here you go, buddy. A lightning shard that fairly dances with the concentrated ether it harbors. Handle with care. Huh. What is it that makes you so much better at finding things? What do you have that I don't? Quest markers. That is a question I too have asked myself on numerous occasions. I suspect we could both learn a great deal from Foxy, and not only about the secrets of adventuring. But come, we should attend to our mission. Were you flirting with me? I feel like he was flirting with me. Wishful thinking, maybe. Excellent. The system responded exactly as intended. We now have access to the Habisphere. Only one obstacle remains, the security systems within. Should they be triggered, they could make life rather difficult for us. In light of which, pray leave the rest to me. If I am right, my royal blood should allow me to venture in unmolested. Should. Assuming this place works like the Crystal Tower, yes. But if it doesn't, you'll be on your own. I want you to promise us that you'll get out at the first sign of trouble. I promise. Wish me luck. Oh hey. Do you guys like this cutscene of him flying off in his mana cutter? Do you like that? Well, nothing for it but to sit tight. Yeah, did you like that cutscene? Did you like all the effort Square Enix put into it? Look, I'm sorry. I love this game. It's my favorite game of all time, basically. But, God. My God. I'll let it go now. I'm sure this Owen fellow was very learned, but iconic corruption. An overview sounds like a studium thesis. We all had to write one. Lest you wonder, mine was about the combat applications of ether. I'm nothing if not practical. Alphino's was far more philosophical, of course. Political, dare I say. He chose to write a lengthy discourse on our nation's duty to the world. A controversial subject, to say the least. He asserted that Charlene's knowledge should rightly be used to protect all life on the star, in direct opposition to the country's cherished policy of non-intervention. Being a leading member of the Forum, our father was not happy. At the time, of course, Alphino was utterly convinced of his views and would cheerfully argue to the death with anyone who saw things differently. By which I mean the rows were long. To be fair to him, though, he's since learned to be a little more open-minded, but deep down he still holds fast to that one belief, and I admire him for it. I should have liked to meet the young Alphino. For what it's worth, my thesis concerned the Allegan civilization as depicted in folklore. Oh, you're back. I didn't know you attended the studium. I didn't. A thesis was required to earn my Archon's mark. My peers at the Students of Baldessian convinced me to write one with the promise of unfettered access to forbidden tomes. Though I considered it no more than a means to an end at the time, I will admit it was gratifying to have my efforts acknowledged. Good gods, an Archon's thesis. I shudder to imagine the work involved. But enough about that. Is this the fruit of your foray? Yes, Owen's archive node. It was waiting for me in his chamber. If a copy of his report still survives, it would be stored in this device. Shall we find out? Initializing. Scanning for a registered user. User not found. To proceed as a guest, please complete biometric authentication. Verifying. Authentication complete. Guest identified as member of the royal family. I am at your most humble service, your highness. It never ceases to amuse me. 'Tis but a pity the effect will not last forever. Doga and Une said as much when they granted me this gift, but until such time as it fades, I shall use it gratefully. Search archive for iconic corruption. Searching. One item found. Iconic corruption. An overview. The report is locked by the author. Please state password. Well, go on then, your highness. Tell the nice node the password. Yeah, Graha, do it. Right. Let's see. Glory be to Alleg. Long live Emperor Zand. Password incorrect. Try again. Confound it. Come now, passwords are invariably short and simple. For instance... Password! The notion that the password could be something so inane would be laughable, were it not dangerously stupid. Furthermore, your conduct in the presence of His Highness is grossly inappropriate. Know your place, handmaiden. Oh. What? Did that thing just call me? Courage. Password incorrect. Again. Be warned that any further inappropriate behavior in the presence of His Highness will not be tolerated. Alright, that's it. I say we dismantle it and manually extract what we need. Now, let's not be too hasty. A single misstep and we risk losing the report altogether. I believe this may be a task for Cid and his colleagues. If anyone can coax Machina into cooperating, it is them. That's a good point. And Cid will be happy to see you again. Come, let us bear the nodes back to the Rising Stones. What a absolute savage of a node. Fine, I'll let Cid try his hand first, but if that doesn't work, we're doing it my way. Oh dear. Threat detected. Oh, you think? Alright. I should probably mention that I have yet to meet Cid since waking up. Rambros did send word to the Ironworks, but it appears our friend has been afield on urgent business. Nevertheless, I assure you my proposal to seek his help is no pretext, however much I might look forward to seeing him again. Him and everyone. But come, let us be on our way. Look at him all but running. How sweet. Still, it wouldn't do to keep him waiting, shall we? Of course he wants to see Cid and everyone again. Alright, finally out of here and back to the Rising Stones. Anything new to say, friends? While Thancred and Urianger are off to Garlemald, I'll keep the information flowing freely between us and the Alliance. After all, close coordination is the key to winning this war. That it is. How about you two? I take it you have news to share. So do I. Aha. I'm pleased to see your mission was a success, and in no small part due to the Bonanza. That's true, we bugged Cid for use of his airship long enough. Kryle's back too. I wonder what was decided at the council. That's a good question. Large lowborn presence detected. You're gonna get disassembled. If you're looking for Isildur and Eliandra off to Doma, okay, we've been through all that. All that back there too. So, let's just continue. Wonderful news, Foxy. Totaro contacted Cid on our behalf, and he is on his way here even as we speak. While we wait, I should very much like to hear what transpired at the Alliance Council. Would you be so kind, Kryle? As you know, the meeting was convened to discuss how best to respond to recent events in Garlemald. According to intelligence from our Doman allies, the War of Succession rages on, and the Empire remains without a leader. Amidst the chaos, the Imperial legions in the provinces have begun to move independently of the motherland. Of greatest concern to us is the Third, a legion aligned with Lord Nerva. It appears they have received substantial financial backing from House Brutus. Brutus. Aren't they the ones who took in Yotsuyo and Asahi? This bodes well. Xenos' movements, meanwhile, remain shrouded in mystery. We're hoping that Thancred and Urianger will be able to shed some light on his activities when they return. Until such time as they do, the Allied leaders feel it would be unwise to interfere in the conflict. And so, thanks in part to the Imperial withdrawal from Gimlet, they have decided to turn their attention to the primal problem once more. Working with friendly factions among the beast tribes, they hope to reopen dialogue and explore new avenues for peace. Given the timing, I suspect they wish to put their respective houses in order ahead of a decisive clash with the Empire. Whatever their intent, this is not a problem easily solved. The Laminzens in particular struggle in their efforts, and Alphino and Y'shtola have been called upon to aid them. So long as we're dealing with the Tempered, I'm afraid no amount of dialogue will avail us. But if we can develop a treatment for the tempering, then anything is possible. Which is why we must succeed. And on that cheery note, why not make yourselves comfortable in Dawn's Respite? I'll show Sid in as soon as he arrives. Man, really making good use of that room, aren't you? I understand you took a little trip to Azizla. Raha made himself useful, I trust. As always. We've made the respite cozier than ever. You're going to love it. Well, once the pall of our nearly dead friend stops hanging over it, that's going to take a while. It is rather nice. This is probably where the other Scions rest when they're on watch, or something like that. Oh, look at that. Steaming hot sponge baths. Ooh, nasty. Warning, His Highness is exhibiting elevated blood pressure. Aw, he's nervous. Sid, at long last. As important as Gabu is to me, I know only too well how much more is at stake here. A cure could change the whole world. That it could. We'll have to see what we could do about it. Sid! Forgive us for not coming to see you sooner, my friend. As you may have heard, we've had our hands full. In our defense, you are up rather early. I was under the impression you'd be slumbering a while longer. Oh, I would have been, had you not fulfilled your promise. I still struggle with that idea. From where I stand, the secrets of traversing time and space seem exactly as unfathomable as they ever did. But if an alternate version of myself has already laid them bare, I dare say that frees me up to concentrate on other endeavors. Speaking of which, you wanted my help with something. What is it? I never get tired of hearing Eternal Winds. Well, well, a treatment for tempering. And for the next step, you need to find the password to this Allegan report. Just so, with nary a clue to guide us, we could be here forever and still not guess correctly. And thus we turn to you. Well, I'd love to say that we could help you, so I will. Once suitably configured, a Magitech terminal should make short work of identifying the password. I knew I could rely on you. Now, anticipating that it might be of use, I took the liberty of borrowing a tombstone from Rambrose. It contains an Allegan dictionary. Good thinking. I'll transfer the information to a terminal and set it to work right away. Ah, looks like it's finished. Let's see. Freedom. The password is freedom. Huh, short and simple, just as I said. Would you care to do the honors, your highness? I would, my lady. Good old Sid. Always coming through for us. Node, open for the report entitled Iconic Corruption and Overview. Password freedom. Password accepted. Opening report. This report seeks to provide an overview of the mechanism by which icons corrupt and bind men to their will. The phenomenon we call corruption refers to the alteration of the ether of the soul. Said ether originally exists in equilibrium, no one element being more prominent than another. But when a subject is exposed to the ether of an icon, this changes, their soul taking on the properties of the entity in question. By way of an example, overexposure to the exposure to the ether of the fiend Sephiroth would cause a subject's ether to become aligned with the element of earth. As a consequence, the subject would attain heightened affinity with earth-aspected magics, as well as preternatural levels of endurance. Repeated exposure would further enhance these traits, ultimately altering the subject's very flesh. The changes undergone by the subject are not solely attributable to elemental alignment, however. Further testing has determined that the subject's soul becomes umbrally charged, or stagnant during the process. This stagnation of the soul has the effect of diluting the sense of self, rendering the subject vulnerable to the will of the icon, the thoughts of whom come to consume their entire existence. In this manner do the corrupted become worshippers of the icon, their prayers serving to further empower the entity. Having discerned the mechanism of iconic corruption, my colleagues and I set out to develop a material capable of shielding one from its effects. An endeavor in which we were successful, albeit at great cost. In the course of testing, many of my assistants, good men and women all, fell victim to corruption, and in accordance with protocol, they were summarily put to death. I subsequently submitted a proposal to investigate potential cures for corruption, but it was rejected, deemed non-essential by Lord Amon. Though I knew it would be fruitless, I protested the decision, and for my impertinence, I have been stripped of rank and title, and will shortly be expelled from this facility. In all likelihood, this report will be expunged from the archives. Nevertheless, I recorded in the hope that one day someone will undertake to do that which I could not, and find a cure for the victims of iconic corruption. End recording. So not even the Alligans were able to find a cure. Or rather, were not given the chance to do so. One cannot help but wonder what motivated Lord Amon's decision. More importantly, this confirms that stagnation of the soul is indeed the problem, and Angelo can remedy that. True. Yet were we simply to reanimate a tempered soul, I fear it would do naught to diminish the individual's fanatical faith. Indeed, it may very well intensify it. No, we would somehow need to suppress the Primal's hold over the subject at the same time, or risk them ever remaining its thrall. If only we could make them remember who they were, or so there's no point in reviving their souls unless we can also restore their sense of self. See, remember who they were, that sounds more likely. But of course, memory transference. The process has the effect of compartmentalizing memories, separating them into manageable bundles, if you will. By adapting the technique, it may be possible to achieve selective reanimation, that is, limit the effects to only those memories that existed prior to tempering. Through thus restoring the sense of self, we could theoretically drown out the incitements of false faith which had come to dominate the individual's thoughts. I see. The theory seems sound, and our experience treating the light corrupted would help us identify suitable memories for reanimation. But are you confident you can adapt memory transference as required? I seem to recall your attempts to do so while trying to bring us home culminated in literal bloodletting. They did, you were right. Despite my best efforts, I could not recreate the mechanism, and I concede that the rather clumsy compromise I reached would not provide the basis for a cure. Then perhaps it's better that we consider another approach. Your doubts are understandable, but this time I believe we have reason to be confident. You see, nodes such as this were built with the ability to simulate magics, which leads me to believe that it may be capable of performing simulations of the transference technique. If so, we would be able to conduct years' worth of tests within the space of a few days. In theory, it would be no different from how we identified the password. But it'll take more calculating power. A lot more. I honestly couldn't say whether our equipment would be up to the task. Tell me, Sid, why do you suppose Owen locked his report behind a password? To keep it from prying eyes, of course. Why else? Wait. A password that could be guessed by anyone with leisure in a dictionary wouldn't keep it from a person minded to look. No, he wanted his report to be seen by those who strive for freedom. Not unlike the members of a certain distinguished engineering collective. I believe their motto was freedom through technology or some such. You two, round up as many Magitech terminals as you can find and bring them to the workshop. Right away, Chief. Things are about to get very busy. Lucky we have you to help, eh? That you do, old friend. Suffice it to say, I shall be of whatever help I can. All those Magitech terminals won't come cheap. Ah, shut up, Tataru. Some things you shouldn't put a price on. As with our first foray into the Labyrinth of the Ancients, we seek to venture into the unknown. And in order to succeed, we require not only knowledge and preparation, but daring besides. Just like old times. Just like old times. We're getting there, Foxy. One step at a time. Right. While Grahat's here and I configure the terminals, I want the rest of you to procure supplies. Namely, ceruleum to fuel the terminals and ice shards to keep them cool. The more we have of both, the better. Leave the ice shards to me. I'll round up some adventurers and go on a gathering spree. In that case, I'll trust Foxy and Alice with the ceruleum. Here's a promissory note for each of you. Take them to the Skysteel Manufactory in Ishgard and the ceruleum processing plant in Thanalan. The people there will give you what we need. Yours is a well-known face in the Holy See, I believe. If it's all the same to you, I'll head to Thanalan. Good idea. It's been a while since we've been to Ishgard, anyway. If Alice is bound for the ceruleum processing plant, you'll want to take yourself to the Skysteel Manufactory. Off you go now. We shall see to it the terminals are ready by the time you return. Well, very good. And we will, of course, do that quest, but we'll do it in the next episode, for we are out of time. I want to save plenty of time for everything that happens in each patch worth of quests, as it were, so we're going to end things off here. But in the next episode, we'll continue the main story quest. I'll see you next time, guys. Take care until then. Bye.